Richard. An employee at the front desk. Did you want to, give her a? Then you kind of back.
Been a great couple of weeks already. Nothing like diving in deep and quick and right in. The other day I was making a comment to Teresa about something that needed to happen and said, yeah, Teresa's got that. She said, yeah, I want it. I said, wow, we made a great hiring decision. She's
We got a good office team now.
an office team.
So a motion to call to order and, here. So the, November 14th regular meeting called to order at 6:02. Apologize for the delay. And note that quorum has been achieved. Motion. Councillor Manson. And Councillor.
I'll second.
Did I do like the previous mayor used to do and just pick one? Yeah, motion to suspend the procedural bylaw for this meeting.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Everybody,
Vote on it then.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Next motion to approve the agenda as circulated. Councillor Manson and Councillor Grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Next motion is to approve the regular open meeting minutes of the September 26th, 2023, and the special meeting minutes of October 30th, 2023, hereby adopted and signed as circulated. Have a motion. By
I'll move it.
I can second.
Grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's the next thing.
Yes.
Oh, there it is. So the next item on the agenda is the we have to vote for the first thing when we discuss. So we have a motion before us for road agreement consideration now be the resolved. The corporation, council for the corporation of Municipality of Calvin is in agreement that this matter be deferred until such time as the rezoning of the limited service road process for this property is complete and a draft road maintenance agreement for council's consideration be prepared by the municipality's solicitor. Motion. Anybody move it?
Then we discuss it after and you can decline it or
So nobody wants to make the motion?
then we don't discuss.
I'll move it.
Any seconder?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
No
No,
discussion.
discussion. Any discussion? No comments?
When do we expect the draft road maintenance agreement to be prepared by the
Solicitor?
our lawyer? When do we expect the draft maintenance agreement to be drafted by our lawyer? Any timetable?
No, we have to get it rezoned to limited service road first.
Okay.
And simultaneously, we'll see if the lawyer will work on the draft motion, but then also the road agreement, the road maintenance agreement, road use agreement right now needs to be revisited. We all know that because it has some pretty stringent requirements in right now, the 5 houses and none of the road agreements, not none of them, but the ones that you've approved in the recent past haven't met the bylaw anyway, so let's revisit the bylaw to take away some of those things that perhaps like 5 houses on as an example that you talked about at council. So that will also, in conjunction with the planner, the CBI, and our lawyer. And once these limited services roads are delegated. So I understand from the CBI, from Shane, that there were in the last zoning, a number of roads were missed that should have been appointed as limited services road to protect the municipality, such as when the fire truck can't get down there. And that didn't happen on 4 or 5, he believes. So tomorrow he's coming in, sitting down with me, and we're going through the list of identifying the roads that need to be on limited services road agreement. What we're doing here essentially is saving this, this taxpayer about $1,100, because we would then ask them to go have it rezoned as LSR, and the fee to that is $1,050. The time frame is somewhere between 45 and 90 days. So by us doing this and looking at all the roads that should have been LSR in the last rezoning, we're saving those who might come today and in the future from that. Ms. Silverthorne is aware of this process. Her and I chatted about it, and as you know from the last, they've been for quite a while, and they can't build and they can't get a business or building permit at this point anyway. So as the municipal planner has said, fact is that everything will be ready on time for the construction. If we look at all of the things that need to happen in order for this road agreement to be prepared, that it will be prepared and everything will be ready in time for the next construction year. And so Silverthorns are familiar with and they understand the rationale behind it.
I guess a question, how does that affect access if you're in the limbo stage of no road agreement, but not a plowed road as we move into the winter? Not just on this road, but on any road where you have a property and you want to access that.
You wouldn't, well, a property, difference between a property and a home. So they need this road service agreement, maintenance agreement in order to build a house. You can't build a house without it. So you want to talk about seasonal roads and what happens today, Brandon?
So seasonal roads are maintained from August 1st or October 1st, or not maintained from October 1st to June 1st. So basically, if you have to go into a road use agreement to be able to maintain the road yourself, because we don't plow it. So if we give out a road use agreement and they don't plow the road and there's a fire down there and the fire truck can't get down there, well, then that liability comes back on the township, because we give them the okay to build down there, but we can't provide the services that we do. So you're opening up a can of worms in the long run, right? But if you own, like, it doesn't stop you from going down there. Like if you own a piece of property or something, you can drive down the road and go access your property. There's no reason to have a fire truck go down there. Like we can go in there with an off-road rescue and go get you if you get hurt on your property or something like that. But when it comes down to actually taking equipment down there to do the job, that's where this comes into play.
Thank you.
Want to add, Mariel, to anything to that?
No, it's basically what Brian said.
Did want to make us comment on this. May I comment to Mayor Morton? Or-
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I just cut out a little bit. I think, to try not to get too far off the original motion, I do think that, it makes sense what's being said about following our current bylaws and procedures. And I think the bylaws, one of the bylaws we're specifically referring to is 2017-015, and that's the bylaw that established guidelines for property owners requesting year-round municipal maintenance. And I think that I would hope that we can open up as a council a more general further discussion on this bylaw and just road agreements in general, because we want to try to promote development and make things easier. And I don't think we're there right now. I think that's where we want to be, where we can allow people to develop while covering our liability, but also having these things done in a much quicker way, which I think is where we're all going to want to work towards. And so I'll leave it at that for this resolution, because I don't want to get into a totally different discussion, but I'll likely propose something on a future agenda or move forward with this discussion in a more general sense.
Okay.
I have one
Counselor.
more question, question. Will we have an opportunity to review this, the rezoning to limited service road process prior to coming to council? Will the document be emailed out so that we can review it?
So I can send you information about what an LSR road is, so that you're aware of that. It's not something that there are guidelines and around what a limited service, it's not something that we make up, right? We can't change what an LSR is. So what we're saying is to remove liability away from the municipality, as Brandon referred to it. We want to be able to say that this road offers limited services as it does today without, it's not dedicated as a limited service road. We say that this road, and for example, this and a few others, that they're seasonally maintained, but we haven't just delegated them to be limited service. So should something happen on that property, on that piece of road right now, you posted it as seasonal, but you haven't posted it as limited services, meaning fire, ambulance, whatever might not get there. So today, if something should happen on that road, yes, it's posted, but you haven't designated it as a limited services road.
So rezoning it from a seasonal road to a limited service road,
Yeah,
which that I'd like to see the definitions of those. I'm not familiar with it, if possible.
we'll send it out.
Counselor Grant.
I do think there's potential here for, a further council discussion on the matter, in that, in terms of what those definitions are, they are created like, I guess I don't want to get beyond my skis, but what is the municipality responsible for, and I suppose be the province, but if the use of those properties is stated in the zoning bylaw, that would be within our control, and I just want to make sure that council's on board with the direction we're moving, and where we're moving in the future, aside from the current bylaws we have that we need to enforce, but what direction we're going. There's probably a additional discussion that would need to occur on this.
That's why I recommend that it be heard so that legal opinions can be brought forward to us. We can make a decision.
And I think at the end of the day, as speaking with the building inspector, the planner, the lawyer, if as staff, we all do our due diligence and bring to you the risk, and you choose to ignore the risk and go against the recommendation, then staff has done its job, and that's on you. So that's why this needs to happen, so that you are aware of the risks associated with not changing things today.
Any other questions, comments?
None.
Oh, so Councilor Ladner,
No, I have none.
vote. Yay or nay, or yay? All in favor? That's carried. Good. Thanks. Next on the agenda is the OPP annual billing. The motion before our council is council for the Corporation of Municipality of Calvin to revisit the resolution 2023-249 deferred on September the 12th, 2023 regular council meeting regarding the police service agreement. Will we follow suit of the other partners to enter into a 2-year agreement? In addition, are we in receipt of the Ontario Provincial Police 2024 annual billing statement estimated costs for the period of January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024 for the area of Mattawa, Group of Four, which includes the municipality of Calvin. We have a mover.
Second.
And I didn't ask that.
Oh.
Councilor Latimer. Any discussion? This was deferred to the Police Service Board for recommendation. And they haven't had a meeting in the interim. So they have no recommendation other than to agree with your decision to move forward with a 2-year agreement. Any discussion? No discussion.
When does it expire, the current agreement?
The 2-year agreement would expire in 2025
And our current one,
at 2023.
at the end of the year?
So the billing that we've got is for 2024. So they don't include the 2025 billing.
What the other two municipalities agreed to was a 2-year extension, yeah.
Right. The issue really is a moot point because we can't pull out of the agreement and say, oh, we're gonna form our own police department. When you talk about the road things, it 116,000 for a resident, that's a 1-year salary for a policeman, another 100,000 for the car. And you can't just survive on one policeman. You have to join their agreement, it's just a matter of whether you, and the other part of it is Police Service Board is gonna be revamped in 2024. So not gonna exist anyway. So we're all gonna be part of the section 10 of the OPP.
So we agree to a 2-year extension, but next year it could be, it's going to be revamped and
I know the
something
recommendation,
entirely different.
yes.
Okay.
So we can agree to the 2-year, and that way if it takes 2 years for them to revamp it, then we're covered.
Makes sense.
Other discussion?
Just briefly, this could be one of those topics that we then could take to the province and say, hey, you know, traditionally municipalities are here to provide infrastructure and roads, not, you know, the policing should be a municipal a matter. I'm not saying we'll get anywhere. I'm just saying, you know, this could be another area where we can push to say, you know what, province, stop downloading, you know, where our hands are full.
Currently looking for people to sit on the Police Service Board in the future, Councilor Grant, and I can tell you right now, I've been batting my head against the wall trying to get to that. They're very open to talking, but they are not gonna change. The Police Service Board constitution is set in stone. We're gonna be part of the Group of Four going forward. We've tried to become part of Bondfield, East Ferris, not gonna happen. We tried to get more people. We have a quorum of 3. So if somebody can't go there, when I was in Europe, couldn't have a meeting. Just like this council, if we don't have 3 people, we can't have a meeting. So that's, you know, one of the problems. Going forward, there's really not much we can do about it. We just have to agree and pay the piper. All in favor? Yeah, reluctantly, yes. Next item on the list is somewhere in here. Corporation of the Municipality of Calvin Township hereby formally appoints Marielle Lebrecht as the fire chief for the Calvin Fire Department effective the hiring date of September 13th, 2023 by bylaw 2023-041. I have a mover, Councillor Manson. Seconder, Councillor Latimer.
Right.
Any discussion? Councillor Grant,
None.
Councillor Latimer,
No, I have none.
Manson,
Nope.
all in favor?
Can I just interrupt for a sec? The reason the next two are brought forward is because we missed the bylaw when we appointed the two staff person, just missed bringing the bylaw into the meeting, so we're formalizing the decisions that were already made.
Okay. Carried. That's okay. The next one, item on the agenda is Corporation of the Municipality of Calvin Township hereby formally appoints Teresa's Group as Deputy Clerk Records Management Coordinator effective the hiring date of August 25th, 2023 by bylaw 2023-042. Motion,
I'll move.
Counselor Grant, Counselor Manson. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Welcome, Teresa. Next item on the agenda is council for the corporation and municipality of Calvin hereby receives the consent agenda items as circulated, less any items requested for separate review and discussion. Moved by Councillor Manson, seconded by Councillor Grant. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor?
No.
Next item is the council, the agenda items for action.
Would you like me to read that one for your voice? It's a long one.
Maybe we should get somebody else to read it, give them a chance. Please. I can't even read that with my glasses.
So this is out of Wawa, so we did make the words up locally, just so that you know. We can do long resolutions too, but this one's borrowed. Now therefore be resolved that the council for the corporation of the municipality of Calvin is in receipt of a resolution from the corporation of the municipality of Wawa and supporting letter from the city of Quinte West addressed to the Honorable Doug Ford, noting that the Ontario Colleges of Physicians and Surgeons has made a decision that will lead more people who suffer from chronic pain to turn to opioids to alleviate the pain. And whereas the college is targeting community pain clinics requiring the use of ultrasound technology in the administration of nerve blocking injections by licensed physicians. This requirement will increase the time it takes to administer the nerve block and therefore reduce the number of patients a physician can see in a day. And whereas the Ontario OHIP plan is proposing to reduce coverage for several vital healthcare services, including a drastic reduction in the number and frequency of nerve block injections a patient can receive. And whereas these changes have been proposed without any pain management medical professionals or with their patients, and whereas this cut will force chronic pain clinics to shut down, putting a greater strain on family physicians in emergency rooms, and whereas the reduction in the number of nerve blocks being administered, many patients looking for pain relief will go to overcrowded emergency rooms, opioid prescriptions from doctors, or opioid street drugs. Now therefore be resolved that the council for the corporation of the municipality of Calvin is requesting that the government of Ontario maintain OHIP coverage for chronic pain treatments and continue to provide much needed care for the people of Ontario. And furthermore, that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to all municipalities of Ontario, local MPPs, Doug Ford, the Minister of Health, Associate Minister of Health and Addictions, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
Sure.
So we need the mover in, sorry.
So do we have a mover? Councillor Manson, Councillor Latimer. Seconded by Councillor Latimer. All in favor or any discussion? All in favor? Expanded on this. Okay, we have thing was like, the second part of this was a recommendation.
That's an overarching ability, whatever it's.
Okay. So the council for the Corporation of Municipality of Calvin has received and reviewed the letter from the Mattawa Area Food Bank, whom are asking for a donation in support of the Christmas meal hampers. And that the municipality promotes citizens drop off up to 4 p.m. December the 8th at the municipal office for during regular business hours, donations of non-perishable goods, or at the fire department breakfast with Santa event on December the 9th between 8:30 a.m. and noon, which will in turn be donated to the Mattawa Area Food Bank Christmas meal hampers. Or alternately, that the municipality will consider a financial donation to the Mattawa Area Food Bank. The alternate was to put in there that that's under discussion. So do we have a mover?
I can move.
Councilor Grant, second by Councilor Manson. Any discussion?
I can lead off the discussion. I think it makes sense that we can help provide a drop-off point to in our community to help collect some of these the canned goods and help support that way. So I support the or portion of the resolution.
The or.
In fact,
Okay.
it's written in two. I have that correct. It's written in two parts, so we can help them collect donations.
Yeah, that was the, my suggestion was that we have a food drop, like a food bank donation here up until December 9th, as long as the fire department's in agreement. And they can drop off at the two locations, and then after December 9th, we'll just take all of it up to the food bank. That was one of their recommendations, either cash or have a food drive. I think to encourage and community involvement, make it safe, more convenient for people that live in our area that don't travel that well to drop it off here as opposed to taking it all the way to North or Mattawa. Any further discussion?
I think it's a great idea, and it's, you know, moving into the winter season, the expensive Christmas season, and the cost of food is still pretty high, with inflation, so I think this is really a great idea.
So you're in favor of the, what, so because it's an either or, we need a definite, which are you in favor of the, money or the?
Well, I would be in favor of both. The Mattawa Area Food Bank also serves the community of Calvin.
Yes,
So it's a donation it would be a donation that would help potential Calvinites as well as the area residents. So
right.
as far as if we were to, you know, talk about an amount, I don't know what a reasonable amount would be, but I wouldn't be an objection to a financial contribution as well.
Okay, Councilor Lyman.
I'm in agreement with Councillor Manson. The food drop off and the financial contribution, either individually or from the municipality. I don't know what the usual donation has been in the past. I'm sure I don't think that's probably a question in the past, that there would be a contribution, a financial contribution. But what is it? What amount?
And we consider, if the food donations aren't adequate at our either location, that we consider at the first meeting in December, a monetary addition to the food donation.
I agree with that.
I would support that as a compromise. I was going to be a little bit more hesitant to offer a monetary contribution. I'd just like to see give the citizens an opportunity to give their own donations instead of a forced donation through taxes. But everybody makes good points. So I like Bill's suggestion.
How would we make a donation? Is it through the Mattawa Area Food Bank? Is that where the donation would be made to, or is there another way?
Well, I'm thinking that if we have, a quantity of food, then we just, if there was, what we considered at that first meeting in December, and an adequate supply. And looking at the donations the fire department received, I don't think there's gonna be a problem. But, then if we felt it was inadequate, we could throw in whatever the council decided on that first meeting, which is only the next day or two after the, December 9th cutoff. I think,
There's boxes.
the 12th and December 12th, so they're still gonna get the food, before mid-December.
I'm good with that.
So can you amend the, motion? Or do you want me to read it, amend it, or?
Or what if you, I'm sorry, if what I'm hearing you saying is that you want to go with option number one and you revisit if there's. So why don't we just for this meeting, go with option number one?
And see how
We
it
know
goes. Yeah.
what things look like, before the next council meeting and.
Open it back.
Prepare a resolution coming forward to financial contribution regardless.
Absolutely.
All in favor? All carried.
At 9.3.
Yeah. Next item on the agenda is council for the corporation municipality of Calvin. Mayor Gould was formally invited to attend and participate in a discussion in advance of the 2024 Ontario budget. Acting Deputy Mayor Dean Grant will report on this matter in his absence.
All right, the floor is mine. I'll try to make it brief. I attended a meeting with the Deputy Finance Minister of the province. Also, Vic Fideli was present for the beginning proceedings, and the moderator ran the meeting. And there was about, I don't know, 13 or 20 guests from various organizations: Mattawa Hospital, East Ferris, Township of Mattawa, Hospice. A variety of other organizations, all kind of making pitches to the finance minister. I collected some notes with Donna on what we might think is useful, and I just I didn't have a ton of advance notice, so I didn't come to council for a full thing, but I took a leap there, and I think you'll all agree with the points I made. I talked about the significant pressure on northern municipalities to take on more responsibilities in funding things that the province would typically fund, and kind of objected to the continual downloading of costs. And I gave the example of healthcare costs, including nursing homes, and also integrity commissioner costs that we're kind of forced to absorb. I briefly touched on the fire department. I talked about funding. Currently funding is available for buildings, but not for trucks. And I kind of mentioned that you can build a brand new fire hall, but your trucks are from the 80s with provincial funding. So it'd be nice if they would loosen that up as well. I talked about medical costs, specifically nursing homes, and how those costs are significant for our municipality. And I also mentioned on integrity commissioner costs. I mentioned a possible building code review. Whereas we have, unorganized neighbors that would see more development potentially than us just due to the regulation. And I mentioned allowing our municipalities to collect the balance of the property tax sales. That's not happening. And also the release of Crown land for auction. There's a few parcels in Calvin that are actually on maintained roads that are sitting there doing nothing for us, collecting no taxes. After mentioning all these things, even before I was about in the middle of the presentations, these were, aside from the fire truck and maybe the IC things, these were general themes in the other municipalities as well. They talked about releasing Crown land. They also talked about a constant downloading of costs and how it would be nice if the province would basically adjust their funding format to reflect the new reality, because that hasn't been adjusted in a long time. And yeah, it was, I thought it was a good conversation. It went well. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. But that was all recorded as well. And it's going to go back to the provincial budget talks. Thank you.
So we had a motion, that we didn't have a mover and a seconder. Counselor Manson and Counselor Latimer.
Yep.
The thing I added to the motion was we moved to accept Counselor Grant's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda. Resolution number 2298 for 2023 to repeal bylaw 2022-060, a bylaw appointing treasurer Leanne Crozier. Whereas Leanne Crozier has been terminated. And now therefore be it resolved that a bylaw to rescind and repeal the section of bylaw 2022-60, appointing Leanne Crozier as treasurer, to be read and passed and numbered as bylaw 2023-043. And that said bylaw be signed by the deputy mayor and CAO clerk treasurer and sealed with the seal of the corporation. Motion. Manson. And Grant,
I can second.
any discussion? No discussion, all vote. All in favor? All in favor.
Point 1.2.
Resolution number 299 for 2023, whereas by virtue of resolution 2022-024, a bylaw 2022-007, being a bylaw to codify human resources recruitment and management policies, hereby be rescinded and repealed by bylaw 2023-044, hiring policy, be read and numbered, passed and enacted on this day, November the 14th, 2023. And that said bylaw be signed by the deputy mayor and CAO, sealed with the seal of the corporation of the municipality of Calvin Township. You have a mover? Mr. Manson and Mr. Latimer. Any discussion? All in favor? Carry. Very good, though. Your turn to get that. On the agenda, resolution 2023-300. Council for the Corporation and Municipality of Calvin has received the Integrity Commissioner's recommended changes to bylaw 2023-009 Code of Conduct and defers them to the Code of Conduct Committee to complete their review of the bylaw for council's consideration. That motion by Councillor Manson and Councillor Grant. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass. Next resolution is 2023-301. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the municipality of Calvin hereby approve of the bylaw 2023-045 building inspector officer agreement to enforce the Building Code Act as provided by and between the corporation of the township of Papineau Cameron, corporation of the municipality of Matawan, and the corporation of the municipality of East Paris, which shall be in effect for 4 years from October the 24th, 2023 to October the 25th, 2027, and direct staff to proceed. I mover. Counselor Manson.
Second.
Latimer. Any discussion? All in favor? 3-4, okay. Powering through this, very good, gentlemen. 2023-302. Council for the Corporation of Calvin Township will receive this report from the CAO clerk treasurer. You have a motion? And seconder from
I can say.
Grant.
Discussion. You have all the factors.
Okay, any discussion on her report? No, no questions, no comments. We'll call for a vote. All in favor? I'm just gonna jump on that one. Next item on the agenda, 2023 duplicated -303. Council for the Corporation and Municipality of Calvin Township will receive a report from the chief building official for the month of October and are satisfied with the information provided. I have a motion from Councilor Manson and Councilor both. Any discussion?
I do have a comment. I just, it's just simply my opinion, but I think that when these resolutions come forth, it shouldn't state necessarily, I don't think it should state that the last part says we're satisfied with the information provided. I mean, I think that it should be that the report is received. I know this is a minor detail, but I I might be unsatisfied maybe with some information in the report. I don't know. I'm willing to vote this time. I think that maybe they should just say that the report's being received. That's just my technical detail.
Anybody else? I have a comment too. I agree. It should say that, and because I wasn't satisfied with the report and I made a recommendation to the CAO how it could be improved, or in my opinion, improved. But that's up to the CAO and the building inspector to work on.
You
But-
want to mention, I think you should mention the improvements that you feel. Yeah.
The suggestion I made, and it's only a suggestion because I'm not part of staff, but I'm on the committee for the Conservation Authority, and they publish a list of permits every month of things that are done in the Conservation Authority. And it lists the location and the person who applied for them, and where our report just as numbers. So when people call council or staff and make complaints, you can go to that report and say, well, so this guy's got the report and this guy's doing this, and oh, I didn't realize I had a permit and you guys had already approved it, and so problem solved. If we had the same thing with our building inspector, which it obviously can't be a privacy issue because they do with the Conservation Authority. So if we do that with our building reports, I recently got a call from I won't say who, but a huge political force was very upset about, as I explained to the council before we went to this meeting, a construction project, which in their opinion was possibly contaminating a water source. So it's both the conservation and the building. And I checked the thing, I don't know. We gotta check into this.
Well, I think that has been standard in the past, but certainly if you want more detail, then we can bring.
That's all.
Building.
Do something like that. That's just a little
Establish
thing they know.
Yeah.
So that's expanding as,
But it's changed.
it was just a suggestion, and I put that to the CAO, whose hands it should be in.
So I'm gonna speak, I just received it tonight, so I will bring it to Shane tomorrow.
So in discussion, any other discussion? That went way more detailed than we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, any changes to the report, I mean, I don't know, they could come from a council resolution, right? Voted on a specific, on, you know, what specifically those changes might entail. That council will have the ability to steer. But the one thing me and Bill definitely did agree on was just, you know, this idea that we're satisfied with the reports. I think that it should just be more, we're accepting the report.
Should we change the motion then? That we're satisfied, or that we accept the information provided?
I would support that change, of that motion, because I wouldn't want to bring this up as a separate resolution to change the wording. I think it's crazy, but I definitely would support that, Mayor Martin.
Here, I guess we are suggesting that we change the are satisfied with to and receive the information or accept the information provided.
Sure, it's something that's received, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're receiving it, we're reading it, and we're not necessarily, you know, we're opening it for discussion.
I have
We
a
have-
question. It's not related to the format of the report, but it's, we collected $4,390 in the past 10 months. That's the way I read it. What does it cost us for the building inspector services?
I don't have that figure in front of me, but I can pull out the bylaw and the agreement that you just agreed to extending.
Yes.
I think you need the bylaw, or you need the building inspectors in order for people to be able to build. If you want to create development, you gotta have a building inspector.
Well, $4,400 of building revenue is, I agree with that. Of course, we have to have a building inspector, but we need more building, obviously.
Exactly.
I'll get the figure for you and send it out tomorrow with the agreement, so that you have a copy of the agreement.
We vote. Okay, next. Public Works report.
So Bill, did we vote on that resolution yet?
That's yeah.
Apologize, I just froze a little bit. I couldn't hear.
Just to go over the resolution again, it's council for the corporation and municipality of Calvin Township will receive a report from the chief building official for the month of October. Period.
Yes. All those in favor.
And it was moved by Councillor Manson, seconded by Councillor Grant. We're gonna have a vote, all in favor? Thank you. Next on the agenda was Resolution 2023-304, Council for the Corporation and Municipality of Calvin Township will receive a report from Public Works Department and Interim Roads Superintendent. Period. So from your report that you have in your hand, it's changed as per the previous amendment. And we've got his report.
Yep.
And we've read his report. You're not gonna say anything or any questions of the road superintendent?
Get it over in a second.
Oh, yeah. Mover. We need a mover.
I move.
Council. Seconder. Councillor Manson. Any discussion?
I just had a question, the entrance permits, Suzanne's and Stewart's Road, issued the entrance permit. I just wasn't familiar with that terminology with that.
So for anybody that has a piece of property, you have to apply for an entrance permit, which allows access into your property basically, which just makes aware of the proper size culvert you need at the end of your driveway and what the proper width is, and make sure you have the proper site visibility when you come out from your approach onto the road. Make sure you don't get T-boned by a car or something if there's not enough site visibility. So every entrance that's ever been issued in the township or has been in the township will have an entrance permit for it.
Gotcha. So these would be new ones then?
Some are newer, some are existing, like some want a 911 sign, but we can't give them a 911 sign if they don't have an entrance permit. So then you have to go through the steps of getting an entrance permit before you get a 911 sign. So that's some of the ways around, you know, how it works.
Thank you.
I have a question, Brandon. Any update on the delivery of our new snowplow?
Actually called, Rob, Gincor 2 weeks ago. And I was hoping, I called him and asked him if our truck was sitting at Gincor yet. And he kind of laughed and said that they're waiting on a chip. The truck is built and ready to go, but it can't run without this chip that it needs. So he's hoping that it'll be at Gincor in December. And they'll start building it and we'll receive it for hopefully the end of January.
Oh, good.
But that-
Thank you.
Where we stand with it.
Is that, can I ask if that chip is chip to automatically turn off the engine? Am I
They said it's to make it run, period. Like it won't run without it, period. Like it won't even start.
not using the, I don't know what model it is, but I know with the new vehicles now, they automatically stop at an intersection and they shut off and then they start up again, and it burns out the starter.
Oh, yeah, no,
And you have to, so if that chip's there, which they're mandated to sell, then if we
can sign off
we
on
can
it.
sign off on it, that'd be great. If not, we're gonna have to pay to have it deactivated.
No, yeah.
Because if not, it'll burn out your starter and you wanna be out in the middle of boondocks there and have it die on you.
Yeah, we won't have that on it. We won't have that on it. But the good thing is that they're not waiting for the truck to arrive at Gincor, like the plows and the wings and everything are already supposed to be there waiting for the truck. So as soon as they get the chassis at Gincor, they promised me it'll be straight in the shop being built. And should have it 4 to 6 weeks after they receive it at Gincor.
Great.
Any other questions? Call for a vote, all in favor? All in favor. Next item on the agenda is item 2023-305. Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of Calvin Township has received a report from the fire chief. And we need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Manson and Councilor Ladd. Any discussion? Report.
Here, her report's in there.
What's in here? Okay. No discussion, no questions?
I'd just like to mention that the Halloween event that the fire department hosted was awesome. I drove by early and I was super impressed with the decorations. And also congratulations to our new firefighter. So, and also the promotions, lots happening on the fire department. So thank you to the chief, and that's all I want to say.
Thank you. No other comments? Any comments from the chief?
Everything. Yes, I do have a comment. I think we should be very proud of our fire department and our firefighters. They've been more than receptive. And even with all the challenges they've gone through, they're still there and they're dedicated to their community and providing phenomenal service.
Thank you. Are you still looking for recruits?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We're gonna be putting
And-
out.
One last thing too, Marielle, is just the last note about the Bill C-310. Is there any, is there anything that the councils could do or to help in that in terms of letter of support or anything? I'm not familiar with that.
I will forward the information to Teresa, actually. and maybe they can circulate it. It's a petition going around to increase the, tax breaks, I guess, for lack of better words, to firefighters from $3,000 to $10,000. So if as many people as we can sign this petition, that would aid either by, you can either do it on paper or electronically. If we can circulate it, that would be fantastic. The information will be submitted.
Other comments, no other discussion? As for a vote? All in favor? All in favor. You give me the motion.
No, there are no motions, they're just information.
Oh. So that, oh, I see. Oh. So the committee reports, collective bargaining update, Councillor Latimer.
Okay, so earlier this year, our municipal employees voted in favor of becoming members of Unifor in its local 103. Unifor is one of Canada's largest unions, formerly known as CAW, Canadian Auto Workers Union. On October 30th, our bargaining team, CEO Donna Maitland, Councillor Dean Grant, myself, and labor relation consultant Philip Koning met with the Unifor local bargaining team for our first meeting. They presented their proposals, and we broke for the day to review the information. Our schedule was to meet with them the following day, but we realized that more time was needed. So the two parties met early October 31st and agreed to reconvene at the earliest possible date, which is a date to be determined in the future. And the municipal team spent the remainder of the 31st in discussion and realizing that we had some internal issues to resolve before we could move forward. And Unifor was in agreement with that. And so we're not quite sure when the next date will be, but we're working on it. This is our first collective agreement. And so it's a bit more complicated than negotiating an existing one, which is why we have retained the services of Phil Koning, who's a very experienced negotiator and labor relations specialist. And that's my report. Any questions? I hope I wasn't on mute. No, I'm not. Good.
Thank you for your report, Councillor Latimer. Any, yes, officially, is there any discussion or further discussion or questions? No, thank you. And we don't need a motion on that. The next item on the agenda is the, I missed one.
Conservation.
Oh, it's next. Conservation Authority. I think I already covered most of that. The last meeting of Conservation Authority was CTM 2024 budget, which is basically 5% increase on next year's levy. Considered a 2024 council. Next on the agenda is East Nipissing Planning Board. That was Dean, Councillor Grant.
So the planning board is, we're moving along. We're considering severances as they come up. And I don't have anything, unless there's questions, to report specifically on that business. I do notice that there tends to be more severances in Papineau, Cameron, I think, than most places. They are also larger too, so we gotta factor that in. But yeah, that's all for my report.
You mentioned severances. Can I ask a question? What is the cost of a severance? Based on,
Is that the cost for someone looking to sever?
is it a general flat fee or if I have 100 acres and I wanted to sever it in 250s, Is there a flat fee or do you go by how many acres here?
It's $800 per severance. So, it's $800 per application, so you can put, I think you can put more than one on the application. I'd have to confirm that, to be honest, I don't want to give out bad information. But, I mean, you know, in terms of you have to do, you don't have to hire someone, you don't have to hire an engineer or a planner to do that severance. You can fill it out yourself. It's, you know, it might be complicated for some people, but you know, then there'd be the $800 fee for the severance paperwork. There's the survey that is almost always required unless it's a natural severance, something kind of pre-existing. And then, there's the surveyor, the fee, and then there's a 5% in lieu, also on the severance. So there's a few different fees there. It does add up, but, it's important for development.
And it's got nothing to do with council. We have no input on that monetary value.
You do pay fees.
Yeah, so I guess it would come up to the planning board. I know in terms of the finances of the planning board, from what I'm aware of, is, you know, basically the $800 fee kind of just covers the operation of the planning board. I think the members are awarded $75 per meeting. And you know, we have a secretary that's paid out of that, and it's all very basic. I think there's a cell phone. There's a few other minor costs, but I think that fee is set to try to, you know, just capture those costs, not to, there's a small reserve, it's not the profit. So, you know, just something I could talk to the board about the fee, and get more information for you, but that's the way it's set up.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Well, since we're chatting about it, that 5%, can you speak with the nature of that and kind of where that's going and what it's for? And is it mandatory? And is it something that we have any say as a council, or is it a provincial mandate? Thank you.
You know, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the details of the 5% in lieu. Donna might know more than me. But I do know it did come up. It's interesting you mentioned that, John, because it came up on there was a desire at the planning board to actually look into that percentage as well to see what power we had over it. Specifically, there was 200-acre parcels that were owned by the same person that attached, and that person was having them separated again. And they still had to pay the 5% in lieu. And to me, it just seemed outrageous because they're already taxed separate parcels, and the rest of the board agreed. So there wasn't this discussion about trying to waive it for, call it those severances of separate parcels already. But that's all it was a discussion. I don't have details. I don't know. Staff have any further comments?
So a couple of things. There is a cost to us to participate in the East Nipissing Planning Board. So we do pay them an annual levy for using the services of Ms. Montoy, who happens to be the secretary. And we also pay the cost of the planner that the East Planning Nipissing Board uses when they're consulting with the planner. So there is a cost to us as a municipality. So then to all taxpayers bear costs associated with however many property owners do receive services from the East Nipissing Planning Board. We pay much more than that property owner does. And there was another point I wanted to make about, the 5% in year of. So that is part of bylaw when we share the planning services with Matawan, Papineau Cameron, and just us. So that, yeah, there are only us in there, right, Dean? That's only the
Yeah,
three.
it's Matawan, Papineau Cameron, and Calvin, not Matawan.
We all share those fees. And that isn't, so, you know, on our website, or we can send you the link to that so you can see how the fees are scheduled. And that 5% in Europe goes into a reserve account at each municipality for parkland improvements. So that is a way that in severing properties, that fee comes into a special bank account that we hold in reserves if we're doing any improvements to parkland. So new dock, let's say at Suzanne's Landing, could come out of there, any improvements to the rec center. So anything that is designated as parkland, that's the fund that you would use in order to access. Is that sits in a separate bank account reserved only for that purpose. So if you were doing new outdoor renovations, so there, we talked about Doc and Suzanne's needing replacing. So that's when, you know, we come back to council with staff in future budget years and say, can we access that money? I do have to tell you though, that in looking at, you know, my report spoke of this, that no funds were transferred into that account. They're sitting in general for the last 2 years. So a little bit of an investigation to do there with BDO and going back and trying to find records that don't exist today for 2023 and 2022 to make sure that those funds received are transferred into the bank account. So they're there, they're just not in the right bank account right now.
Thank you for the information. Sorry, Councilor Manson.
Just one more question. Thank you very much. Is that common to most municipalities or to all Ontario municipalities, or is that unique to the 3 that are?
Oh, definitely not unique. Definitely not unique. I know that East Ferris no longer has, I believe, I could say that out loud, so I'm not certain, but it's not unique and typical, more typical than it is unusual. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The reason for my question more for the weed this keeps coming up. Seems like every meeting. So we must have a lot of new people in the area. They're asking all of us questions. If we get it out on the video, maybe it'll satisfy some of those questions.
And those documents are,
No. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know that also Michelle Leahy of the planning board, she takes questions quite frequently, as well as Joanne, the secretary as well. And I'm going to be honest, they know a lot more detail than I do. They've been at it a lot longer than I have. So specific questions are great for them as well.
Thank you. Anything else? Next on the agenda is the Police Service Board. I think I already spoke to it. The Police Service Board is currently looking for a secretary. We only have structure is 3 members. It has to be 3 for a quorum. But there's a move afoot to create a new Police Service Board in 2024. We'll see what happens, and hopefully there'll be more than 3 people because the quorum is 3. And then
are there ads up? Like, have you,
we've got, we're having a meeting on Thursday. This shows how hard it is to have a meeting. We're having a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursday at the town hall in Mattawa. Because nobody else, I haven't been available since September. And and then I'm not going to be available for the next 6 weeks. We're supposed to have a meeting in December and we can't because we won't be there. And it's one of the ladies goes away for the winter. So we're mandated to have, or legislated to have 4 meetings a year, and we can't. So I put a letter into the Ontario Police Service Board saying we can't comply with the legislation because we don't have enough people. They don't issue provincial appointees for the last few years for some reason. And they have talked to our regional contact, and he said they have no intention of appointing any provincial appointees until a decision is made on the structures. So it could be, I've been told by the previous secretary who resigned in the spring that they've been talking about this for years. So when we're paying, I think our township pays $760 a year as our levy. The last recommendation from the Ontario Police Service Board that should probably be increased by 10-fold, which is, in my opinion, ridiculous. But if we have to hire a secretary, then you're going to be doing what the planning board does. Currently, the councils for the 4 municipalities, it's always been a clerk. And we don't have a clerk, and either of the 4 municipalities are willing to take on the job. And it's not a mandated job by the council, it's a volunteer. And then they don't get paid a lot, but they do use the facilities of the township office, so there's no costs involved really. And, if we have to start paying for computers, and then I can see where $8,000 from each of the 4 municipalities might be a reality in the future.
Except that you're moving to a broader community police service.
No, same for. That we tried to get in with, another community. And they decided Bonfield went with East Ferris and Callender, and we stayed just before. So that's. We have a meeting on Thursday. I don't know what's gonna happen. The next, item on the agenda is the physicians recruitment, and Mayor Gold's on that committee, and he's been off of medical leave for the last 6 weeks, so I doubt that he'll have attended anything. The next item on the agenda is Talon Lakes docks, which is Councillor Latimer.
Okay, well, their last report, I believe, the Cottagers, Talon Lake Cottagers Association and the Algonquin First Nation were going to form a corporation, which would allow them to apply for funding. And the township of municipality of Bonfield and Calvin would have observer status with that corporation. But since September, I have heard, radio silence. I haven't heard anything. I don't know what's going on, and I haven't been invited to any meeting to deal with it.
Any questions? Thank you for your report, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I know is a roundtable discussion. Anybody want to start?
I'll just say I've been here now 3 years in Calvin, the North Bay, really loving it, really enjoying it. Moving into, as the seasons shift, going into winter, it's always a super busy time. It must have interesting challenges for the various departments, stocking up and loading up great job on the roads, I can say, because that's probably a challenging time when things are a little squishy. Yes. Or they freeze up. So I don't really have anything too crucial to say, other than I'm enjoying Calvin, and I see the office is being staffed up. Everything's moving along. I'm just really pleased to be observing how Calvin is doing so well across all the different departments, and very pleased with that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Councillor Latimer.
I have nothing more to add to what Councilor Manson has said. I agree. It's in a year's time, I believe we've made quite a bit of progress. We've certainly had our challenges, and but we've survived them, and looking forward to the future. With the past behind, bury it, move forward. I think the future looks bright.
Thank you. Councillor Grant.
That's funny. I was with the first two comments. I just wanted to comment that I think that we had a mountain to climb, and we're climbing it. Just from my perspective, I'm not doubting there's significant work to do, but you can tell that things are getting done, and that's directly 100% because of the staff. That are getting things done on a daily basis, and the small things matter. And so that was my comment, and I just think it was interesting the two previous comments were in line.
Thank you. I'm gonna save my comment for the end, but I'll start with the staff.
Oh, you want me to say something?
Why not?
Well, I just want to talk about, we had an all-staff meeting a few weeks ago, and it was so awesome. We have such a great staff team in all departments. Muriel was invited, and I think, to bring you in as part of the staff recognized as one of us was really helpful. There was some great engagement at that meeting. We accomplished a lot just in discussion about how we work together. Some people needed each other in different departments, so we'll try to make that a monthly. Actually, I shouldn't say try, we will make that a monthly. I will find the time to do that because it is important that while I'm very deep and I don't see a way out anytime soon, it's important for us to support each other and to see each other at those meetings, to do that. And, you know, roads, we met as a department. Brandon's done a great job of putting schedules together in advance for the next couple of months. And, you know, we will be sitting together to talk about budget for next year. With Trish coming on new and just being so capable of taking things on, has been a real pleasure. And Teresa and I have been exhausted and continue to be exhausted. And thank you for all the support that you provide, Teresa, on a daily basis, because it's a lot. We have a lot of bylaws that are outdated. We have a lot of things that need to be changed. We have a lot of law that needs to be applied. And I think getting that across to council is often very difficult. And so bringing speakers in to help you understand more about what we're regulated to do and what we don't have, we don't have a choice to do is important for your education. And on that note, I'm meeting with Municipal Affairs in the next couple of weeks because their management team out of Sudbury has been incredible support to me personally as we're climbing so many hills and mountains. And, some suggestions will come out of that. I do know, especially as we talk about roads and some of the implications for a lot of what you do. So these, guest speakers at the very beginning of our meeting, I recognize it's early, but Bill, congratulations on a very well-run meeting tonight. It's 7:30, and even if we had started at 6, it would be 8:30 and we'd be done. And I think that this was a very effective and efficient way to get through a meeting. Brandon and I talked about reading through our reports and the rationale for giving you packages in advance so that you had the questions prepared, and it helps us to end a very long day. And it doesn't mean that it's meaningless for us to be here because we're not saying anything. The report's there, and hopefully, you all get enough. And if you don't, ask away, right? We're always here to answer your questions. Most of us love the questions, and no question is a bad question. So keep asking and keep recognizing that we won't always agree, but that the information is out there is what's important, that everyone does have an opportunity to ask and answer questions. So again, kudos to the entire staff team here at the municipality of Calvin, small but mighty, and yes, growing because there's such a need. So I'm really looking forward to the organizational review that you approved, so that we can get more information again to support the level of staffing needed to provide the level of service that our taxpayers and you expect from its staff. So, and in all departments. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a little last word.
We already got reports from the Springs, the fire, and the ladies in the office. I presume that's good.
I don't think I could have said it any better.
Well, all I would do is echo what everybody said about the staff doing their job, which wasn't being done I noticed that the gap there where Peggy was on paper only here for a month, but she was there until Christmas, so it's somebody that. Anyway, the major point, other than thanking the staff for the work, is our next meeting is, as you know, I'm going to be off on medical leave. Richard is off on medical leave. That means it's tantamount. The three of you gentlemen have to be available. So if you're not going to be available because of the work involved in creating an agenda, the ladies have asked me to bring it forward that it's not a vital meeting. Can we defer it to the December 12th meeting? And that way, you're going to have a quorum. Whereas during that one, we're not sure what Richard, we know definitely about me, whether we have to have all three of you here for the next meeting. And I know it could be a medical emergency in between that wouldn't count for anything, but if you have any plans that you're going to be away, like we've got 2 on Zoom already. And I know there was an issue about starting the meeting today at 5 o'clock, and at the next, the CAOs lined up a special meeting again at early for an audit presentation for the future meeting. So I've been asked to make sure everybody's, the three of you, if you're not going to be on board, now's now or very soon, before the ladies start working on the agenda, would be the time to putting it off. We already put off a whole month in October, putting it off. Not a big deal, I don't think. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
I'll be here.
I'll be present.
I will not be present. My wife is having surgery next Monday, right next, and before or after you, Bill. And so I'm their primary caregiver for at least the next 3 weeks. So I really can't commit to being out of the house.
So then, based on that, I suggest that you're not gonna have a forum and recommend that we cancel that meeting or cancel that meeting and defer it to everything until the December 12th meeting. It is an onerous task on Teresa and whoever else that creates the agenda, so that's why the prelude, because there is an issue. Because we knew this, I knew Karen was going in the same day as me, so. And then Richard isn't, he's still on drugs, so he can't come. But no, that's, I don't know, right, it's an issue, like if he's on the question,
Medical.
that's, but, you know, if he's on drugs, and, you know, how can the township expect him to make reasonable decisions, and I'll be having surgery, so I don't make them anyway, but.
That's how we want it. Because you always.
So recommendation then is that we cancel in November. I mean, no, and move everything to December 12th. It's the next meeting will be
What is November 20th?
28th, so cancel that meeting and move everything to December 12th.
And it will be a little longer one because we do have audit, and I can guarantee you want to come nice and rested up for that one.
So we need a motion then, or do we need a motion or resolution or what?
To cancel the meeting, we should have it.
Yeah, so it was in my notes that we had to discuss this, and there was a potential.
Okay.
If everybody was gonna be here, then fine, we're gonna go ahead, but if there was gonna be an issue, because 3 of us are involved with medical procedures, then we'd need a resolution.
Okay,
And,
so I have the wording. Motion 2023-305B.
A.
Because you already, or 306A then? It's three,
5A.
I think we can figure out the actual number later on when you do your notes, but we get the motion and cancel the meeting of December.
Feel better.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and December's only got one meeting anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's,
It's Christmas.
I was gonna say, should we go to in December? You can't, because it'd be 26th of December.
so be it therefore resolved that due to a known lack of quorum, the November 28th meeting be canceled. Simple.
So we need a motion or a mover and a second.
I'll move it.
And Councilor Hanson and Councilor Vladimir. Any discussion?
None.
Call for a vote. All in favor? All of us, all 4. The next item on the agenda would be, if I can read it. Bylaw 2023-046, a bylaw confirm the proceedings of council. Need a motion. Councilor Manson and Councilor Grant. To any discussion, vote in favor, aye.
Aye.
Then Motion 2023-307, council for the corporation of the municipality of Calvin now be adjourned at 7:26 PM. Moved by Councilor Manson, seconded
I
by,
can second. I can second.
no discussion, all in favor? All in favor? And, that is,
That's it.
that's it. Thank you very much,